Good afternoon. It's Friday, and isn't that great news? May the 27th. I'm Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times. The University of Arkansas Board of Trustees has been meeting this week. It's mostly been making news by raising tuition at all of its campuses by varying amounts, 4% or more. At most places, this is because, of course, the state support of higher education in Arkansas continues to decline, and the money has to be made up somewhere. That leaves the students. Other news out of the UA board this week was a fairly routine vote to continue to ban concealed weapons on campus. A state law in 2013 allows colleges to allow concealed weapons, but the boards have to vote to do so, and they have to take a vote every year. The difference this year is that the vote was 7-2. It's always been unanimous previously. A Hutchinson appointee stood up strongly to have guns on campus. The governor, Asa Hutchinson, will continue to make appointments. It could be that these votes will change as the years go by and the universities may eventually have guns. Chancellor Joseph Steinmetz at Fayetteville has said he opposes that, however. More news today on the governor's mansion. The Arkansas Democrat-Gazette this morning finally got into the story that we've been reporting for a week or so, and pointing out that the administration has not been telling the truth about the circumstances that led to legislation that essentially abolishes the governor's mansion commission as having any say-so over the operation of the mansion. It's become clear that Susan Hutchinson was unhappy with the commission about some methods of operation. There was a dispute about a piece of sculpture that she wanted to spend a significant amount of money on to display better. She got some pushback from the commissioners who said she wanted to spend at least 6 times what the sculpture was worth. There were disagreements, I think, about some purchases for decorations, about use of the mansion. The First Lady wants it used less by nonprofit groups than it has been used in the past. In any event, that much became clear in the story, though they buried that lead behind the First Lady's unhappiness about rodents in the mansion. Rats, she said. There have been rats in the governor's mansion. I hate to tell you that the Quapaw Quarter is an old neighborhood, and it's an old house, and periodically you do get rodents, but it doesn't take $1.5 million to deal with them. There have been dogs in the mansion before too, and they've left some urine smells as well. I think this has been dredged up as a cover for the takeover effort, and the Democrat-Gazette pretty well bought the story. We're going to have more reporting on that that's going to put a little bit fresher perspective on it, and a more accurate one, I think. In Searcy today, Jeff Clifton entered a no contest plea to the slaying of his 2-year-old son, Malik Drummond. This is a child who disappeared in 2014, and his body was found a year later. He's going to get 40 years in prison. The Razorback Foundation, that nonprofit that operates fairly secretively but raises money to support Razorback athletics, announced this week that it's going to open an office in Little Rock. It's always been based in Fayetteville. It's going to hire to lead that operation Micah Strother, who was a fundraiser, and a successful one, I should add, for Mike Beebe. Why do you need a Razorback Foundation office in Little Rock when you've got internet, phones, airplanes, and all sorts of things? Don't really know, but they think that it will help reach out to Little Rock and Central Arkansas people for money. I've pointed out that this isn't a great year for appearances' sake, if nothing else. The Razorbacks don't want to play football games in Little Rock anymore, but they're happy to raise money here, of course. It's a bad year, too, because we're going to only have one hog game in the fall, and that's with that vaunted gridiron power, Alcorn State. Thanks, Jeff Long, for that great game. That ought to bring a big crowd to War Memorial Stadium. Michael Poore, the Bentonville School Superintendent, who's going to come to Little Rock and take over as superintendent here, will begin his work June 13th, the State Education Department announced today. He'll have 2 weeks to confer with Baker Curris over operating the district before Curris departs. Curris, you'll remember, was fired by State Education Commissioner Johnny Key because he resisted the continued expansion of charter schools in Little Rock, which are taking away many white and higher income students and leaving very difficult to educate students in the Little Rock schools. Speaking of the Little Rock School District, it was graduation last night, and a disgruntled Little Rock supporter wrote me to say that the Little Rock School Board was not in attendance at the Little Rock Central High School graduation. Well, the Little Rock School Board is Johnny Key, the State Education Commissioner. That's how the law works when the state takes over a school district. I don't guess you can expect Johnny Key, who has other jobs to do as well, to go to high school graduations in Little Rock, but I thought it was a poignant example of how Little Rock has been deserted by the state and how we have no one to turn to. Our school board is really not a school board. It's a commissioner who doesn't really care very much about Little Rock, certainly doesn't get around to high school graduations. Perhaps Michael Poore will show us he does care. I'm Max Brantley. That's it for this week. I'll be back next week.